So as you notice, we've got our normal setup here in terms of our low profile clamps. We're going to mill down, but we should be just above those in terms of that depth of cut on the outside edge, the profile cut. And you can always run a measurement here just to double check. You can either use your caliper or you can use a ruler, just make sure that it's 0 at the end from here. So we're going to work on facing this top, and then we'll go ahead and pocket out and do those bores. And this will be one side. And again, remember, as we keep track of our marks, this will be the side end to end in terms of how I want to be able to mill. And as long as my bores are exactly the same on each side and from edge to edge, everything will turn out just fine. All right, so I have used a flash drive in order to put my file over here, and we have a flybox bottom. I go ahead and select and load that. Now, if you're unfamiliar with doing a post processor from Fusion 360, there's several instructions on how to do that. And if you need for me to go back and do that, I'll be more than happy to do that. Notice though, for my last project though, my work coordinate offset is not set up. So I need to do that because I'm getting a status here. And I can just see in my picture, based off of where my plot is sitting, it's not right. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to set up my work coordinate offset, because this is actually off of the center, not off of the corner. So that's a little bit different when you look at what Fusion 360 does. You can change these all the time, whereas in conversational, you will always be off of that corner in terms of the front corner when you put that in position. So let me go ahead and work on my work coordinate offset, and then I'll show you the rest. Okay, I want to make note here. I've got my work coordinate offset centered, as I do in Fusion 360. You'll notice that I went ahead and actually found the center of the block. And in order to reference it, I can use a probe in order to find the center of this block, or I can just eyeball it here. And that's what I did. Now, parts that were important was this fence here and this stop block right here. We'll set it up for repeatability when I put in my other block in order to run the other side. So that's how we work on setting up repeatability, very basic on the xsTECH. All right, I'm going to interrupt here. You can see that there's quite a bit of chips and dust and so forth. So what I did is I went ahead and I did a stop. I did it with the space bar first, and then I came in and then I marked where it was at. So I did a right click so that this will be my starting point in order to finish up after I clean out this area a little bit. All right, so now you can see that we've got things cleaned up. I'm going to go ahead and hit my start. It's going to ask if I need to jog the tool to the location, which I'm fine with where it's at. It's going to be just right. It'll go back to that last stage, and now we're ready to move on. All right, so I've stopped the machine because it's asking for a change of end mill. So this is the ball-nosed one. And what I've done is I've set it up on the box. However, this is a 0.5 millimeter lower than the very top. So I'm going to add a 0.5 millimeter. So once I zero out my Z, I'm going to come back in and type in negative 0.5 so that we know that we need to go back up. Or I can just raise this 0.5. All right, so I am a 0.5 millimeter above. I typed that into my command line. There I am at 0.5. Now I'll zero that out and I'm ready to go. All right, so our inner pocket millings are completed. What I mean by inner pockets is we've got this inside section done. We've got our holes set up for our hinges, our magnet, and we've done our profile around the outside edge. Now, one thing I didn't discuss was your wall thickness here. When I flip this over and I use my low profile clamps, I'm going to want to make sure that on the softer woods that this is thick enough. So this is about 5-6 millimeters right now, and your students may need to change that depending on wood density. So pine's obviously a little bit thicker. If you're doing maple or walnut, it may not be quite so thick in terms of the needs for a robust edge here. However, we did take it all the way down to those clamps. One way to work around that is if you had this a little bit longer, then obviously on this side, you would be creating, if you will, kind of that side edge, which is a nice buffer, right? So that you don't run into your clamps. But that's something to think about. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this out, we're going to flip it over, and we're going to face off this other side. But I'm going to leave probably about a millimeter or two, just to make sure that I've got thickness from here in relation over here, rather than trying to profile and match that profile. So it's a little bit easier to just hand plane that, sand that down, and then we'll have a nice box. So let's go ahead and flip and finish the top side.